Okay, my cat might meow in this video. So I saw some comments on that OCD video, that shorts I made, and I wanted to explain and have some people understand what OCD is, because it's not fun. You might hear my speakers going off on my PlayStation. I've got a game paused. Let me actually pause it. So let's talk about OCD. So people are confused. Some of the people that have seen this short are confused about OCD. Some people are confused, like, what the hell are you talking about? Murdering your relatives? You're crazy. But nobody said that, but it looks like it's taken some people by surprise. Yeah, so with OCD, it is obsessive compulsive disorder. What that means is that there's something you are obsessing over, and then there's something compulsive that you do to fix those thoughts that you're having or those obsessions. OCD is fucking debilitating. Sorry for graphic language, but I want you to understand. OCD can range from extremely excessive hand washing to checking an area on a road because you believe you have killed someone. Yeah, it gets that bad. To having graphic thoughts about murdering your relatives, your girlfriend, killing your cat. So how mine started was, my OCD started. I had an anxiety disorder that developed, and about a year and a half after it developed, unfortunately, OCD can kind of spout up if you have an anxiety disorder. The chances are more likely if you hyper focus on your health, like I did with my anxiety, hyper focusing on panic attacks, my health, all that. So one day I thought, or just a random thought, most people have thoughts like this. Random thoughts, they're called intrusive thoughts. They intrude your mind. It doesn't mean you're crazy. It doesn't mean you're going to kill anyone. But I was driving home and I thought, what if I killed my daughter? So then I worried about it more as I drove and drove and drove. And by the time I got home, I did a compulsion, which is a way to check or kind of ease the OCD. At the time, I didn't know it was OCD. So the check that I did, the compulsion, like some people with OCD, they hand wash. Oh my God, I've got to wash my hands because there's something on my hands they wash their hands. Some people wash their hands with that type of compulsion probably hundreds of times a day. I can't imagine the amount of damage they do to their hands, how painful it can be, how god awful it is. But one of the compulsions I did when I got home was I put my hands around my daughter's neck. Now give me a second. This is normal if you're testing the OCD. If you have harm OCD, which is the sub-variant I have, if you want to call it that, you do these tests to see if you would actually do what your OCD is telling you would do. I was thinking, like, oh my God, I want to kill my daughter. So I put my hands around her neck, no squeezing, not hurting her. I was kind of playing with her, like I just gently put my hands kind of hovering around her neck. And then boom, the OCD got way worse, because when you do compulsions, you make your OCD worse. But I checked. That's what you do with OCD, is you check to see if you would actually do it. It depends on the OCD, or you do a compulsion to help alleviate the OCD. Now, there's therapy for harm OCD is kind of that, the exposure. Having your girlfriend that you're worried about murdering, have her agree, can I hold this knife in my hand, stand in front of you, and see if my OCD takes over and I kill you. Here's the thing. With this type of OCD, harm OCD, there's even POCD, PEDO, I don't want to say the word, PEDO OCD about children, where you have these god-awful graphic thoughts about doing horrible things to people, but it's OCD. It's not you. It doesn't describe you. It doesn't say who you are as a person. People with harm OCD have statistically actually been found to be less likely to kill someone than someone who doesn't have that type of OCD. I know it's crazy. I know it makes no sense. To outsiders, OCD kind of seems like they're crazy. Like, why are you thinking about killing your daughter? You need to be locked up. This is what OCD is. This is why it's inflammatory when people say they have OCD when they just want to clean their room. That's not what OCD is. Now, if it's excessive and it bothers you and it kills you and it's mentally the worst thing you've ever gone through, yeah, it's probably OCD. But if it's, oh my God, I got to clean my room, it's nasty, or man, I really don't like how cluttered my desk is, I got to straighten it up, that's not OCD. Can it lead to OCD? yeah, if you did that a lot, maybe during childhood, or like me, I straightened the chairs at the dinner table a lot. My dad said you always ran around and they had to be straightened and perfect. At the time, it wasn't really OCD, but that was kind of something that could be looked at as like this may develop into OCD in the future. Anyway, back to the harm OCD. I want to make this quick. There's harm OCD. There's PEDO OCD. That's a word I'm spelling. It's not like it's not an acronym. There's suicide. I don't want to say the word. Hurting yourself OCD. There's and these it feels real and debilitating. When I'm saying that these thoughts feel real, when I had my OCD, I felt like I wanted to kill my girlfriend. And at times, the thoughts, primarily just the thought OCDs, like the harm OCD, the PEDO OCD, you would never do it ever. People with OCD don't ever, with the killing and the other ones involving children, you would never act on those thoughts ever, 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 ever. It's just the thoughts, these random intrusive thoughts that people would normally have, because everyone has that thought. What if I push this person in front of this train that's coming? What if I kicked my cat? What if I killed my cat? What if I took this knife and killed my cat? That's normal. Everyone has those thoughts. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. But when you have OCD, those thoughts that would normally flow through your brain and you wouldn't worry about it, people with OCD focus on that shit and they make it their life and they believe those thoughts. So imagine thinking you want to kill your girlfriend and how awful that would be and how you would lay in bed at night shaking, sweating. You wouldn't even be laying in bed with her. You'd be laying downstairs because you're afraid you'd kill her. You're hiding the knives, putting away your guns. That was me. It's not super inflammatory when people get OCD, when they say they have OCD when they don't, but it is a little annoying because I'm not going to be one of those people that flips out and says that you're a horrible person for saying you have OCD when you don't, but it is a little annoying when people do it and they act like they have it. That's why I believe research is important. If you're saying you have an illness, look up what the actual illness is. So yeah, there are some OCDs. It's a huge sort of binary, not binary. I said binary. It's a huge spectrum. That's what I meant to say. Some people, to stop the OCD thoughts about washing their hands, they wash their hands. Some people that have the thoughts of what if I murdered my daughter, they avoid their daughter. What you need to do to heal from that, what I did, which could have actually helped, but in my case, inflamed it at first, was expose yourself to those uncomfortable thoughts. Put your hand around your daughter's neck. You're not going to do it. You're not going to kill her. You're not going to strangle her. Or hold a knife in front of your girlfriend with her permission and say, can I start working on my OCD? Again, it just depends. Some people with the hand washing OCD, that helps their OCD, but it's actually not helping. It stops, it alleviates the thought for a while. They wash their hands, they feel better. The OCD comes back, they wash their hand. The OCD comes back, they wash their hand. Same with there's a harm OCD kind of variant where I mentioned it earlier, where someone, it almost mimics psychosis, but it doesn't. There's a thing called OCD with psychotic features. You're not psychotic. You're not. None. Zero. Zip. Nada. But you have features that someone would look at you and think, are you psychotic? It's just severe OCD. There's a harm OCD variant where people have explained that they have driven and checked a location on the road at night because they swore they were worried to death they hit someone, even though they didn't feel a thump. They didn't see them hit someone. They just worried about it. And then the OCD kicked in. That's what OCD is. It's horrible.